Oh, it's hot out here. Whoever said being an archaeologist was a desk job anyway? I've almost got in my 10,000 steps. Oh, I shouldn't have had so many beers at lunch. Now, if the guy who sold me this map was right, it should be right about... I think I found it. Magnificent. Just imagine what treasures could be within. I'm gonna be rich beyond my wildest dreams. Oh, I can smell those riches in the air. All those diamonds and gold and jewels. Now, where to begin? Anything? Nothing. Anything? Nothing. What about over here? Nothing. Nothing. I've looked everywhere, but there's absolutely nothing. The guy who sold me this map assured me this place was full of diamonds and jewels, and oh man, I can't believe I got so sucked in. Anything? Is there anything at all that I could have possibly missed? Wait a minute. No. Ah! Oh, that was lucky. What's this thing? Wait, chest. I'm rich. Okay, let's have a look inside. Oh. Rotten flesh. Let's have a look in this one. We got iron. Uh-oh. Hello everyone, welcome back to Minecraft The Journey with me, BugmanCX. This is the Let's Play series where we take this survival world of Minecraft and upgrade it through all of the versions of Minecraft from its earliest beginnings all the way through up until whatever will be the current modern day release by the time we get there. Right now we're in snapshot 12W21A, and this snapshot was released on the 24th of May 2012. But on the 25th of May, the day after, there was a B snapshot, and that had a few minor bug fixes. Normally I like to try and play through the versions and get through all of the features before I move on to each of the next versions, but for a minor snapshot update like that, it just makes sense that we might move to it. Now you might recall in a previous episode we had a look at the new emerald ore, and it looks like this because this texture actually belongs to the ruby. We've covered all of that in a previous episode, but in this B snapshot that texture is going to change. So I'm going to drop these blocks down in front of us right here, and we're going to see how they change once we do that upgrade. So let's do it right now. Wow, take a look at that. They've completely changed, haven't they? I mean, the texture looks identical, but the color has changed to green. And of course, if we break one of these, we're just going to get that regular block back because we have Silk Touch here, but that is definitely a new emerald ore block. Another reason for wanting to upgrade is because these snapshots have been incredibly unstable. It really comes down to the fact that they're adding in that local multiplayer server for your single player world, and it just isn't working very well. So actually, what I've been doing for the most part is not playing here on my single player world, and in fact, playing on my local multiplayer server, which is what I normally use for when I'm doing camera work and I need multiplayer angles. But I found that this is incredibly stable. Look at those villagers as the world loads in. But quite frankly, in multiplayer, I haven't seen any of those awful crashes. So I'm going to continue to play this way for at least the time being. This B snapshot also includes some more efficient chunk loading, which I honestly haven't noticed in either single player or multiplayer, and it also introduced some new translation griefings because of those community-driven translations. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Jeb can cut a break on this, but let's get back to the main features in the 12W21A and B snapshots. Rumor has it some brand new structures have been added to the game, and these will appear in deserts. So we need to figure out a location of a desert and see if we can discover one of these. Now, as you know, I try not to explore my world too much unless it's absolutely necessary, and the reason for that is because I don't want my world to become too large and unwieldy with old terrain, which means that when the game adds new features in, we have to go and explore thousands of blocks away to find them. Fortunately, we do have some nearby areas that are unexplored, so let's have a look at a big map of my world and see if we can plan which way we want to head. Let's just start down here at spawn, and if I zoom out a little way, you'll see that I really haven't explored too much of the world beyond the areas where I've been building. This is where spawn is, as we said, and then over this way, up here somewhere, this is the ravine base and the observatory, and then down, let's zoom out a bit, down this way is where we have Arborea, and then over this way is where we've settled down to build our villager trading barn. So zooming out again, you can see that there's a lot of unexplored area all around this space, including over here where I noticed this when I rendered this map, where I've actually popped out here in a portal once before, and I don't really remember doing it, but I certainly did, and I started to generate this desert. So I thought I might head over to this desert first and see if we can expand some more of it, and maybe we'll find what we're looking for. Wait, do you see that in the distance? Okay, we gotta get a closer look. Oh my goodness, check this out. That is a desert village. Desert villages are now made of sand and sandstone blocks instead of wood and cobble. But this is not what I expected. This is a desert temple, but it seems to be incomplete, and so does this village. What is going on here? Okay, let's just start with this village. I want to go and see what's going on. This is quite confusing, isn't it? Okay. I'm struggling. I'm struggling to get in. I've got a feeling maybe something's gone wrong, client server side. Remember, this is a multiplayer server, and to be honest, I don't often use it to generate new chunks. Maybe there's something weird going on. Let's head inside here and see what we've got here. We got, yeah, look. I'm totally getting stuck in these chunks. Let's just disconnect, reconnect. Aha! Let's have a look at that village. Okay, everything seems normal. Nothing to see here except a village. Let's go check it out. This is actually an incredibly small village. We only have a few structures. We have the church, we have the librarian's house, we have a blacksmith, and we have these 3 farm yards here. Not very much else in the way of village structures, but let's go and check out inside. And there's definitely nothing here. No, definitely not. Inside we can see that this is built in exactly the same way that this structure is built in the Plains village. It's just that, as we said before, it's now made out of sandstone blocks instead of cobble and planks. And what that means is, over here you can see it on the librarian's house, is that there's a brand new stair block here, and that's the sandstone stair block, because you wouldn't be able to make these roofs without it. So if we pop over here, we should be able to find some creative uses for this whenever we're working with sandstone in the future. Oh, and of course we have the village well. I mean, who designed this village, really? I mean, why would you put the village well all jammed up right next to this house and this house? Why wouldn't you space things out a little bit more? I don't know. We got to complain to somebody about that. Inside of the blacksmith, well, It's all looking pretty similar to me. And checking out inside this chest, we've got boots, an apple, and some obsidian. Nice. You know, I'm really quite interested in this blacksmith's view. What an interesting view for him to have across this farmland here. We have what looks like some sort of ancient temple, some sort of ancient pyramid perhaps. So let's pop over and take a closer look. Now this structure is not part of the village. It just happened to generate right next to one. This is some kind of ancient structure built by who knows who. And in the front, it looks like we have some sort of entrance here. On the left side and the right side are two pillars with a symbol on the front. Now this symbol is the ancient Egyptian hieroglyph. It's the Ankh, and the Ankh represents life. So maybe this temple is going to bring us new life, or maybe it's trying to tell us something else. Who knows? It's made of orange wool, interestingly enough. Who is creating these ancient structures using wool blocks? Doesn't seem like it would last very long if this was built thousands of years ago. But let's head inside and take a look around. What? We have to make a jump up here. Uh-oh. Well, it looks like we've got a bit of an intruder. Two intruders. Okay, hang on. Let's just clear out the mess. Come on. Yeah, okay. I hear you. You want to explore it as well. Okay, let's just head back inside here. Back inside where we have this main room, complete with some cut sandstone pillars here in the middle, some sort of pattern on the floor as well. And we have one level above us here with one block open for some skylight. And if I head up here, what do we have? Not very much. It's just an additional level. We can head outside though and get a look at the top of the pyramid here. Up the top here, we have a view from the back. And look, there's a door going into the back of this pillar here where we can pop down and get access back to the main rooms. And off to the side, we have these little sections here which don't have very much, just a little bit of a passageway, although this one seems to have generated into a lake. And I think that the way that the world generation works is that these lakes will generate after all the structures. So the lake has actually carved itself into the structure, but we'll just forget that for the moment. Here on the floor is some sort of pattern. Not sure if it has a meaning, but it's definitely there. And here we have one blue block in the middle. Now, I guess if you were an explorer and you were seeing this for the first time, you might think that this blue block represents something, perhaps. So why don't we break it and have a look down? Oh, okay. Well, we don't want to throw ourselves down there because it looks like we've got a long drop and a pressure plate. So if we were to drop right down on top of that pressure plate, we would certainly activate something, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to take this the careful way. We're not foolish. We're going to dig down the side, right down to this level here. And I can see this pressure plate here. So let's just have a look underneath because I'm no fool. Aha! Aha! It's rigged. It's rigged to explode with TNT. Whoever built this temple did not want me stealing all the loot, so I'm going to break that so that I can definitely make sure I don't set it off. Let's have a look inside here and see if we can see what we've got in these chests. Some gold and some iron. That's not bad. We've got rotten flesh, pretty dull, and some iron and some bones. We've got some iron and some bones, and in this last chest, we have some more bones, rotten flesh, and some gold. So not very exciting loot. Definitely nothing unique. We've certainly seen this in the world before. Let's figure out how to get out of here. Well, this is a sight for sore eyes. I was trying to walk home, but I got a little bit disorientated and came across this desert here and found another desert temple. I mean, what are the chances? I came from about 500 blocks in that direction, which is where that village and temple are, and this one is just a standalone temple all on its own. You know, I've been giving this desert pyramid some thought, and I mentioned before that this symbol on the front here is the ancient Egyptian hieroglyph, the Ankh, which means life. And then there's this new block here. This is the chiseled sandstone block, and if you look in the center here, it's got a creeper face. And I thought this is really interesting because creepers don't generally give life. Creepers generally take life. And then I thought, wait a minute. Sand, creepers drop gunpowder and sand makes TNT, And then, of course, as we know, we've got this trap down here, which is laced with TNT, which we can't see very well because it's quite dark. But you know that it's in here. So maybe this symbol is a warning to tell us to steer clear. I think we're onto something. This chiseled sandstone block is craftable, and we can do that by taking sandstone slabs and putting them in a layout like this, and we get the chiseled sandstone block back. But you might remember that there was actually an earlier texture that was added to the game but never used. In fact, 2 of them, and here they are. I think these 2 look pretty cool, actually. I mean, I love the creeper face. It's so iconic, but whatever that diamond mummy-like shape was is really spooky, and I'm kind of disappointed that or a mob like it was never added to the game. Maybe the original plans were to introduce a mummy. I don't know. That would have been cool, but we didn't get it. Cast your minds back to Minecraft Beta 1.4. At April Fool's, Notch decided to add a gag item into the game, and this was the locked chest. You would move around your world and you'd find them in random locations, open them up, and it would bring up a gag menu that took you to a pretend Minecraft store. But these chests would also disappear automatically after a period of time because they weren't intended to stay in the game forever. But the item itself still exists within the game, and the texture for the item has existed all the way up until this point, where it's been removed. Now, we actually have a few of these locked chests stashed away in the Beta Lake Mansion, but as you know, that place was taken over by the mayor, and so I'm not really allowed back in there. I'm going to have to sneak in, get one of these chests, and then sneak out. Who's there? Show yourselves. I'm going back to bed. Operation Lock Chest was a complete success, but I've only got 5 of those things stashed away, and I don't want to lose too many of them, so I'm going to have a look at these by switching my player to creative mode, just so that we can place many of them down, and it won't make any difference in the long run. But before we do, let's take a look at what's changed with these textures. This is the block texture file from Beta 1.4, and you might remember at that time that chests occupied a full block. They were the size of all of the other blocks within the game, so they have their texture here inside this file. When chest size was reduced to slightly smaller than a block, they got their own texture file that was separate from the main terrain.png file. That means that in the newer versions of Minecraft, this is snapshot 12W19A, just a couple of snapshots ago, you'll see that the chest texture still exists for these big, bulky, old chests that no longer should exist within the game. But the locked chest still uses these textures in their full-size form. Skip ahead to snapshot 12W21A and those textures have been removed, presumably to make space for new ones. So what does that mean for the locked chest, which we still have in our inventory? Well, I've got one of these blocks right here in my inventory, and if I place it in my hand, we can see that it displays as that purple placeholder texture, and the reason for that is because the locked chest code is still coded to display the textures from that location. It's just that in the game it's now been replaced with this placeholder texture. So what does it look like when we place it down? I mentioned that I wanted to do this in creative mode because it will allow us to place down as many of these as we want. So if we do game mode 1, we're now in creative mode. Look, we got access to the creative menu, and we should also be able to place down this block But because it's creative mode, of course, we can place down as many as we want. And it disappeared almost instantly, but I believe that the timeout is somewhat randomized. So if we place many of these down, we should be able to place what looks a little bit like the texture grid, I suppose. We're going to have to play catch up and try and replace some of these that are missing. But yeah, that looks like we've just placed down Minecraft's terrain.png file. It's really, really weird. This would be a really interesting block to build with. Bit of a strange texture to have within your house. But if we just place these down in the world, as we know, they'll just disappear, so they're doing no harm really. One thing worth noting while we're here in creative mode is that the creative mode interface has now been reorganized. We have these categories now. Here are building blocks, we have decoration blocks, redstone, transportation, miscellaneous, foodstuffs, tools, combat, brewing, where we have just brewing ingredients but not potions, and materials, which is all of the other stuff. This is a really easy way of finding items now, because before you had to scroll up and down and remember where everything was. But here we have a couple of changes too. Search items, which allows us to search for, let's say, sapling, and we can get all of the saplings really quickly. And also, we now have access to our survival inventory, which is something that you never ever used to have when you were browsing the creative menu. And that, my friends, is all we have time for in today's episode. So if you enjoyed the episode, please make sure to let me know in the comments below, or hang out on my Discord. There are links to that in the description down below, or you can support me on Patreon if you like as well, or you can even just click that little thanks icon on YouTube and do it directly through here. Of course, I want to say a massive thank you to my amazing patrons for all the support, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Until then, this has been Bugman CX. You've been watching Minecraft The Journey. Bye-bye.